Scene 8:37 a.m. Los Angeles County Courthouse, just under 2 minutes after a hidden witness began testifying. The judge made a shocking move. He instantly ordered the arrest of Jennifer Lopez, right there in the courtroom. No one could believe what was happening. Jennifer stood up, locked eyes with the jury, then backed away. Before the officers could get to her, she slipped through a staff-only door and disappeared from the courthouse completely. Hesitation, she ran. But what truly stunned the courtroom wasn't just her sudden escape, it was what the witness had said. "She made me go. Jennifer planned everything with Diddy. She knew I'd be drugged. She set up the cameras." The courtroom's energy froze. Defense lawyer dropped his phone. A woman on the jury jumped out of her seat, her hands shaking, and just like that, in seconds, one of the most glamorous women in Hollywood was completely exposed. Jennifer Lopez, the same woman who once lit up the Super Bowl stage, was now being hunted like a top-tier fugitive as she stepped past the exit door. Courtroom security cameras captured her final moments. She removed her sunglasses, pulled out her phone, and laughed. Tuesday, June 17th to 9th, 0 a.m., inside courtroom 14. L.A. County Courthouse. It was the 24th hearing in the federal case against Sean Diddy Combs. Everything started off quiet, almost boring. No one in the room had any clue what was coming. But just 30 minutes later, the courtroom would become the center of one of the most explosive moments in entertainment law. Jennifer Lopez, one of Latin music's biggest stars, was suddenly the target of an urgent arrest warrant issued during the hearing. That day's judge, Miles Radford, was no stranger to celebrity scandals. Jennifer had been expected only as a backup, witnessed nothing major. She entered at 8:50 a.m., dressed in all black, sunglasses on. Silent as reporters tried to get her attention, everything stayed on track until 9:24 a.m. That's when a protected witness referred to as Ms. D appeared on a secure video feed from a hidden location. The room grew tense and quiet as she began to speak. Her voice was shaky, but her words were sharp and clear. She claimed that it wasn't Diddy who brought her to the party, was Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer, the witness said, had lied and told her it was just a small private hangout. Jennifer personally invited her and led her straight into the room where everything went wrong. The woman even said Jennifer knew. Where the cameras were hidden, the courtroom went completely silent. The stenographer froze. Mid-sentence, prosecutors exchanged wide-eyed looks. One juror jumped up, visibly shocked. Jennifer Lopez didn't say a word. She stayed still, but her eyes, still hidden behind dark shades, kept darting toward the left side of the room. 3 minutes later, Judge Radford banged his gavel. He stopped the hearing on the spot and began to read. Based on the testimony of the protected witness and supporting evidence labeled B27, this court is issuing a temporary arrest warrant for Jennifer Lopez. The charges relate to her possible role in organizing acts of coercion and illegal video recordings intended to mentally harm the victim. This warrant is now active. The courtroom exploded into movement. Officers came toward her from both sides. Jennifer calmly stood up, removed her sunglasses, took one step back, and glanced at her two lawyers. Then she shut off her phone right in front of them. She turned and walked, without panic, toward the back exit, the one used only by court staff, according to internal reports. She moved quickly through the service hallway on the ground floor. By 9:32 a.m., she had reached the back parking lot. A silver-gray SUV, with no plates, was waiting. Cameras recorded the driver face completely covered by a mask and cap. Within half a minute, the SUV sped away from the building, ran 3 intersections, and disappeared from all surveillance. In just 6 minutes, no trace, no leads. At 10:12 a.m. that same morning, the state issued a full arrest order. The FBI took over immediately, tagging the case as high priority. There was already concern that Jennifer had been warned or had planned her getaway ahead of time. Hadn't posted anything online since June 14th. Her PR team ignored every media request. No comment. Total silence. One security officer on site said in a report, "She moved like she knew the layout. No panic, no confusion. This wasn't random, it was planned." But what haunted people most wasn't how she got away, was what the witness had said. If Jennifer Lopez truly knew the cameras were there, if she knew the victim would be drugged, and still walked her in, then Jennifer wasn't just involved. She was the link. She was the bait. A woman used as the friendly face to pull others into something dark, where cameras, drugs, and psychological fear became the tools of control. The trial had to be paused indefinitely. Defense. Lawyers yelled in protest. But nothing could change the fact. This wasn't just a civil matter anymore. This was now a federal criminal case. Judge Radford left the bench at 10:48 a.m. without another word. But he left behind an official note. The court sees clear signs of planned escape and organized misconduct. All files related to Jennifer Lopez will now be treated as Class B felony pursuit under federal law. Outside, media chaos erupted. Jennifer's fans were torn. Some said the whole thing was political, meant to destroy her image. Others were furious, calling this the darkest chapter in feminist entertainment history. A local reporter captured one powerful question. If someone like Jennifer Lopez can vanish just minutes after her name is read in court, how many other powerful people have done the same, never been caught? The woman known only as Ms. D is under full protection from a special witness safety program. But what she revealed on June 17 changed the entire course of the investigation instantly. She appeared through a secure video link. The only image visible in the courtroom was a shadowy figure sitting in front of a blurred screen. Her voice was soft, dry, and calm. No tears, according to official audio notes. She had spent 2 full weeks preparing for this moment. Even so, she still had to pause 3 times because she was emotionally overwhelmed. And yet, every word she said hit directly at Jennifer Lopez, who, up until now, had only been mentioned on the sidelines of the case. "I wasn't invited by Diddy," she began. "It was someone from Jennifer Lopez's team. They told her she might get a chance to work with Jennifer's music crew, maybe even appear in a music video if she made a good impression." Asterisk, "I believe them," she said. "So I went." Those were her opening words. She spoke calmly, but the weight of each word was heavy. She described the party being held in a private villa in Hidden Hills, a neighborhood in the Los Angeles suburbs where celebrities often rent homes for events. She said Jennifer Lopez greeted her at the door herself. She smiled, acted friendly, and handed her the first glass of wine. "Relax," Jennifer told her. "Everyone here is a friend." For the first 20 minutes, everything seemed normal. Then the woman started to feel lightheaded. Her vision became blurry. She couldn't control her body anymore. She described the most terrifying moment in one line. "I was taken into a room with pink lights. There was a bed covered in black sheets. I couldn't even walk, but she still held my hand and pulled me in." When asked who she was, the witness didn't hesitate. Jennifer Lopez. It was her. People in court said the entire room changed. After that sentence, the jurors dropped their heads, hurriedly writing notes. Defense lawyers all stood up, shouting objections. They asked to pause the testimony, saying there wasn't enough proof, but the judge rejected their request. He told her to continue MISD. Explained she didn't remember what happened after she entered that room, but a week later, she received an anonymous email to her personal inbox. It included a video clip. It was over 90 seconds long and showed her in that same room, dazed, barely moving. The camera had recorded her. From the far corner of the bedroom, the video didn't show anyone else clearly, but Ms. D said she saw something in the footage that made her heart stop. "I saw Jennifer's reflection in the wardrobe. Mirashi was holding a phone. Soon after, she started receiving threats, messages that told her to stay silent or else, if you speak, your career and your family are finished." The messages had no name, no sender, but they included details no outsider could know. Her mother's home address, her sister's school schedule, her travel bookings, all of it. It was clear whoever sent those messages had serious access. They were watching her life from the inside. Prosecutors later confirmed these threats were saved and entered as digital evidence. Then came something even more disturbing. The video's metadata, the hidden code showing where it came from, traced back to a private email once connected to a video studio Jennifer Lopez had used for her music editing in 2021. Authorities didn't say Jennifer was directly behind it, but they admitted the link was very real. Investigators were now cross-checking those email records with Jennifer's private transactions. Over the past 3 years, one major focus: unlisted money records, so-called black budgets. Jennifer had allegedly sent large payments to fake companies in the Caribbean. That region is well known for money laundering and hiding. Financial Trails. Ms. D's entire statement took less than 20 minutes, but it was enough to turn her into the heart of the case. She went from a side witness to the most important voice in the courtroom. What shocked everyone was her strength. She didn't cry. She didn't ask for pity. She ended with a line no one could forget. "I don't want fame. I just don't want them to hurt someone else. Even if they kill me for telling the truth, at least I didn't stay silent." As soon as she finished, the video feed cut out. Instantly. Only the federal investigation team and witness protection know where she is now. But one thing is clear: her words didn't just mention Jennifer Lopez, they pushed her into the center of the storm. Jennifer was no longer just a name. In passing, she was now a possible suspect. That same afternoon, the judge received a special memo from the FBI. The first sentence said it all. There is strong reason to believe Jennifer Lopez is involved in a planned system of abuse and victim threats using hidden video footage. This conclusion is supported by both testimony and forensic evidence. This qualifies the case for full federal criminal investigation. A copy of that testimony was immediately sent to the prosecutors already working on Diddy's case. From that moment forward, Jennifer Lopez was no longer seen as a bystander. She was officially listed as a co-conspirator. The allegations that she played a role in organizing elite private parties meant to trap, control, and blackmail young women. Secretly recorded videos that broke the victims before they even knew what had happened. Jennifer Lopez's name didn't first show up when Ms. D gave her testimony. In fact, for more than 10 years, there had been small signs, legal complaints, withdrawn quietly, lawsuits that vanished overnight, and rumors that were posted online and deleted just hours later. Her name had always floated in the background, like a puzzle piece no one could place. Back in 2012, a few early reports mentioned her being at model scouting parties hosted by Diddy's team. Young women were brought to these events, supposedly to network or sign modeling contracts, but most of those reports didn't last long. Her lawyers shut them down fast. There were even hints that some women accepted private settlements. Then, in 2015, something strange happened again. Waitress at a private Las Vegas party filed a lawsuit. She said two unnamed women forced her into a room, filmed her, and threatened to leak the footage unless she signed a non-disclosure agreement. One of those women, she claimed, had the same body shape, voice, and tattoos as Jennifer Lopez. But just weeks later, that case was dropped. No reason given. In 2018, a short video clip leaked online. It showed a woman who looked like Jennifer standing by a bar inside a Villa Diddy, and an unknown white man were nearby. The place looked almost exactly like Jennifer's private Bel Air home, but within hours, the ex-formerly Twitter account that posted the video was suspended. The clip vanished. Every blog that had reposted it got a takedown notice from Jennifer's image rights management company, and every time her name came up in cases like this, her legal team reacted the same way. Full denial, no. Explanation. Official demands to delete everything citing privacy violations. A former journalist from People magazine shared something chilling. In 2019, she had been working on a deep investigation into Jennifer's secret relationships with powerful investors behind the scenes. But before the article could be published, her editor got a phone call. A major advertiser warned them, drop the story or lose all sponsorship for the next 3 issues. The story was pulled. The file was shut, and the journalist was moved to the fashion desk by 2020. The hashtag #MeToo movement had grown, and more platforms were available for victims to report abuse. Yet still no one publicly accused Jennifer Lopez. But behind the scenes, something else was happening. Investigators confirmed they'd received several anonymous tips about a well-known female artist who had worked closely with Diddy at private events. She was described as someone who brought women in, drugged them, and filmed them in carefully planned environments. But no victims had stepped forward, and no clear proof existed, so the tips were archived. What's suspicious is the timing. Each anonymous report came right before a major moment in Jennifer's career: big concerts, new music videos, Or glamorous media events. A former post-production worker who helped on one of her 2021 projects said something felt off. When Diddy was involved, crew members weren't allowed to film during breaks. Jennifer's dressing room had 2 layers of security. No one could enter. Then came a series of legal moves that raised even more eyebrows. Starting in 2022, Jennifer began transferring her personal assets into shell companies. She canceled public appearances without reason. She scrapped her European tour plans, and she quietly replaced her management team with lawyers who specialized in cybercrime and federal defense. When a reporter asked her about it, she just said, "I'm restructuring, moving into a quieter phase in my career." But maybe it wasn't about peace at all. Maybe it was her way of preparing, of pulling back before the walls came down. Because in a recent internal memo from the federal prosecutors to people now under investigation, both mentioned Jennifer's name. They said she helped create the guest list for Diddy's parties and that she personally chose the girls who looked promising. If Ms. D's story is true, this is where the rumors stop being rumors and become facts. It marks the point where Jennifer Lopez moves from background figure to center stage, not as a victim, but as someone helping run an operation built on music, alcohol, lights, and hidden cameras. Now, every old suspicion is rising to the surface, like corpses pulled from the bottom of a lake to the investigators. The things people once called gossip are now valuable clues. Jennifer's long spanning more than a decade is finally being tested. The question isn't what she did. The real question now is, what else is she still hiding? In every case tied to Diddy, there's one phrase that comes up again and again: private party. That's where everything begins. These parties were painted as exciting opportunities, but in truth, they were traps so carefully planned that no one noticed what was really going on. This time, though, the witness didn't just describe an event, she pulled back the curtain and showed how the machine really worked behind the flashy music, endless drinks, and soft lighting. And what stunned everyone was this: Jennifer Lopez's name wasn't outside the system. She was right in the middle of it, more involved than anyone guessed, according to 3 ex-staff members who worked at Diddy's event. Spaces between 2018 and 2020 to each now under witness protection. Every party had 2 sides. The first side was for socializing, light drinks, live music, a little press coverage, but the second side, that's where things changed. Phones were taken away, access was tightly controlled, cameras were shut down, and background noise played nonstop to stop any recording. That's where the filtering happened. That's where victims were chosen. One former manager who handled room setups said they even reviewed people's appearances before allowing them to go upstairs. According to Ms. D and several former security guards, Jennifer Lopez wasn't just there. She arrived early before the parties began. She went over the list of women attending. She had the power to make suggestions and decide who got to enter the private zone, all under the excuse of creating a friendly, safe vibe. One security guard who worked a Miami party said he once saw Jennifer in the surveillance control room. She was watching multiple camera feeds when he came in to fix a glitch. She smiled and asked, "You didn't see anything, did you?" He said nothing at the time. He thought maybe he imagined it. But after hearing Ms. D's story, he came forward and submitted an 11-page report to federal agents. Some of these parties weren't even hosted under Diddy's name. Instead, small entertainment companies ran them, businesses quietly tied to the same financial group. That group was based in Nassau County, New York. Jennifer Lopez rented an office there from 2017 to 2020. That was the same time she told the public she was taking a break from music to focus on personal projects. To this day, those projects remain a mystery. The FBI recently took hard drives from the home of a former stage tech. He used to handle lighting and internal camera systems for luxury parties that Diddy and other big names attended. Among the files they recovered were 2 disturbing audio clips. One had a woman's voice saying, "Let me talk to her privately. I know how to make her listen." Federal experts analyzed the voice. Their tools found over an 80% match with Jennifer Lopez, using voice samples recorded in 2021. Even more alarming, the date on that audio matched the night of a party at a Calabasas villa. That was the same night Ms. D was reportedly there. One section of a federal report gave an even darker theory. Jennifer Lopez may not have just been involved. She may have been the link between the celebrity guests and the people handling the tech and camera work. In other words, she made people feel safe. She made it easy for the victims to let their guard down. Jennifer's fame, her Super Bowl stardom, her image as a strong Latin woman, all of it helped when she smiled and invited someone into the VIP section. They felt honored. They followed her in. But here comes the bigger, scarier question. If Jennifer was the one opening the door, who was the one locking it behind them? Was she just another piece in the game, or was she running it? One senior prosecutor, who asked not to be named, put it like this: people see Diddy and think raw power and money. But Jennifer Lopez, she's all about charm, brains, and control. That makes her even more dangerous because no one suspects her. That kind of quote used to live only in shady online forums. Now, it's backed by seized files, sworn statements, and real reports from people inside the machine. And the scariest part, this wasn't a one-time party gone wrong. It may have been a series, repeated events, organized, planned, maybe even protected by people with smiling faces and famous names. If what investigators suspect is true, Jennifer Lopez won't be named in just one case. She'll be called a central player in a high-level ring, one that used fame, music, lights, and empty promises to lure women across a line they couldn't come back from by the afternoon of June 17th. Just hours after Jennifer Lopez slipped out of the courtroom through a restricted hallway and disappeared without a trace, the Los Angeles Police Department raised the alert. They officially escalated the case to a full manhunt across the state. An emergency arrest warrant was issued, marked with third-tier priority. Police forces at both the state and federal levels were asked to assist, especially in areas where Jennifer might show up or own property. By 8 p.m. that same evening, the FBI had taken control. They activated the Celebrity Tracking Division, the same team that previously led investigations into R. Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell, and other well-known fugitives. Before midnight, a federal arrest warrant was finalized. Included a full physical description: Latina, 54 years old, possibly flying private or using vehicles registered under fake or third-party companies within 24 hours. Every one of Jennifer Lopez's social media profiles came under high surveillance. Her personal email and payment accounts were temporarily frozen for homes linked to her. In Bel Air, Miami Beach, New York, and Puerto Rico were now under federal watch. Private jet companies on the West Coast were ordered to hand over passenger lists that matched her profile from the last 2 days. A source inside the Department of Homeland Security confirmed it just 10 hours after losing track of her. Jennifer Lopez was already classified as a federal-level person of interest. That's the same level given to people who dodge investigations for organized crime or serious human rights abuse. But while law enforcement moved quickly, the media side of the story took on a life of its own. With Jennifer gone from the spotlight, public opinion split into two extreme sides. One side claimed it was all fake, a smear campaign meant to destroy the image of America's most successful Latina icon. The other side said this was just the truth finally catching up to her. On social media, hashtags like #FreeJLO and #StandWithJennifer started trending fast. But legal experts and journalists pointed to something else. At this point, the evidence wasn't just a coincidence, it was forming a pattern. One online petition demanded that Jennifer show her face and speak up. It gathered over 250,000 signatures in just 2 days. Still, her legal team said nothing, only sending a short internal note that read, "We are handling the matter." Meanwhile, investigators weren't waiting. They sent out formal legal requests for international help called Mutual Legal Assistance Treaties. They suspected she might try to flee U.S. territory, maybe by using a second passport or a chartered private flight. Analysts warned that if Jennifer went to a country with no extradition deal, like the United Arab Emirates or the Maldives, where she had performed before, it could take months. To bring her back, that would set a difficult legal precedent for someone of her celebrity level. An internal memo from the investigation included a short sentence stamped in red: "Suspect. Shows signs of strategic movement." We cannot ignore the chance that she is being helped by powerful figures in entertainment or finance. For now, every project tied to her has been paused or erased. Her new album, on hold. Movie contracts, frozen, promotional campaigns. Her name has been removed. Brands that once proudly worked with her are now reviewing contracts, looking for legal ways to distance themselves in case this turns into a full-blown criminal trial. Netflix, which had been working with her on a documentary series, confirmed it has been put on indefinite hold. In Hollywood, posters with her face are still up but behind the scenes. The industry is slowly backing away, bit by bit, from someone who once ruled the stage. As of 72 hours since the warrant was issued, Jennifer Lopez still hasn't reappeared. No lawyer has made a statement, no tweet, no video, no letter. In the media, she's vanished. But in the eyes of the law, she's never been more present. And to the public, the question isn't, did she know? It's how much does she know and who is she still protecting? This is no longer just about a party or one woman's story. This is the moment when an international icon is standing at the edge of justice. And the entire world is watching to see, will Jennifer Lopez return? Or will she become the first major star to disappear completely, not because she fell, but because she ran? When someone as famous as Jennifer Lopez ends up at the center of a federal arrest warrant, the first shockwave doesn't hit the courtroom. It hits the media, the very same platforms that spent nearly 30 years praising her, protecting her, and lifting her up suddenly turned quiet. Within just 2 days of the warrant being issued, major magazines and websites started removing the glowing articles about her. Vogue, Variety, Harper's Bazaar, Rolling Stone, and Billboard all pulled or edited their stories. They replaced them with short, neutral updates that carefully avoided words like victim or survivor. No assumptions. No defenses. Streaming giants followed quickly. Netflix and Amazon Prime put all Jennifer Lopez-related content on pause. YouTube turned off comments on her old music videos to block floods of hate, mockery, and cancel messages. Even TV news anchors stopped calling her an award-winning artist. Now they used a different title, Federal Fugitive and Suspect. CNN aired a 3-night special about how celebrities sometimes avoid consequences for years. Jennifer Lopez was their lead example. Over on Fox News, a late-night host called it the most shocking downfall since Harvey Weinstein. One longtime commentator added, "We're not just watching a star fall. We're watching a whole Hollywood dream collapse, a fantasy built on glamour and silence and social media." It was completely split in two. Some fans believed Jennifer was being punished for refusing to play along with its powerful system. They called it revenge. Others believed she had played everyone all along, using her stardom to protect people in the shadows. But it wasn't just the public reacting. The artist world felt the quake. 2 big names started quietly stepping away. Beyoncé, who had performed with Jennifer at charity events, stayed silent, but her management company, Parkwood Entertainment, deleted every photo showing Beyoncé and Jennifer together. Shakira, who once called Jennifer her soul sister after the Super Bowl, unfollowed her and changed her profile picture. Even Ben Affleck, Jennifer's ex, and someone rumored to be reconnecting with her last year, has said nothing. Other big stars, Cardi B, Lizzo, SAA, have all stayed silent as well. Smaller artists, however, started speaking indirectly on podcasts and live streams. You'd hear things like, "Everyone always knew something felt weird." There were whispers. People just didn't say anything out loud. One insider from Hollywood said it best, "No one wants to be the first to speak out against her, but no one wants to be the last to defend her either." At the same time, brands started dropping her fast, like dominoes. Versace announced they were freezing all image rights deals tied to Jennifer. Coach pulled down every ad from their We Are All Glamorous campaign that featured her. Dolce & Gabbana and Revlon confirmed they were now reviewing their contracts for ethics violations. One credit card company that used Jennifer's face for digital ID systems quietly requested all images be removed. A senior PR consultant explained, "This isn't about guilt or innocence. The moment someone's face ends up on an arrest warrant, they become a legal risk, and brands don't gamble with risk. But the most painful part of all this isn't what's happening on the screen or in contracts, it's what's happening in people's hearts." especially women. Jennifer Lopez had become a symbol of independence. She was proof that a girl from the Bronx could make it to the very top without anyone's help. She inspired millions. There were stories about how she refused to sleep her way to the top, about how she did it all with talent, grit, and grace. Now, some of those same stories are being looked at differently. Women's support groups are no longer sharing her quotes. Instead, they're replaying old videos and asking, how many of those smiles were real? How often did we trust her, just because she made it all look so perfect? What hurts the most isn't the companies pulling out, it's the betrayal. Millions of women sang her songs, copied her hair, looked up to her, and now, if the witness is telling the truth, then Jennifer wasn't just involved, she opened the door. She was the one who pulled them in for over 30 years. Jennifer Lopez built her empire on flawless moves, powerful speeches, perfect makeup, and the image of a woman who didn't need anyone's help to win. With one witness, one court order, and one disappearing act, that entire empire is falling apart, and it's falling fast. Her silence isn't just suspicious anymore, it's becoming proof. The career she held so tightly through decades of lights, red carpets, and applauses now being torn down piece by video clips, by leaked data, by old memories. People once ignored out of trust, but not anymore. Trust doesn't come back after people realize it was never earned. No more concerts, no more red carpets, no more music videos. All that's left is a name, alone, caught between justice and ruin. And as the facts begin to rise to the surface, one last question remains. Where did we look the other way for too long? What really happened behind the curtains, behind the lights, behind the laughter? How many moments of applause were hiding a nightmare built on fame, liquor, influence, and silence?